Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's episode, we take a look at the NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, the last Ronin armored version. Today I'll be reviewing this figure in the following category: accessories, articulation, design. Is it essential to your collection, functionality, and price? Once those scores are totaled, I'll give you my opinion if this figure is a pass or a purchase. So for accessories, I'm barely able to get everything in a single shot. So let's go ahead and start out with Donnie's bow staff. You get some nice detailing here, different colors of paint. I like the wrap that's around the middle of the staff itself. You have a casing for Leonardo's katana, which looks good. Really like the hilt on this. You have some sort of baton here. Some dry brushing going on. You have Mikey's nunchucker. Oh, you actually have some details down the center of this and some wear on the side. Yeah, I like that distressed look to it. You have a number of throwing star, Raphael's signature sai, Ninja throwing claw grappling with a soft rope connected. Get this pair of cool goggles. You have an additional head scope. You know, I always like that, and it is so well detailed. Like that face. You get an alternate bandana to attach, and I'm happy for that. And you get 3 pair of hands in total, 2 on the figure which are fisted, and these hands look great. Definitely some wear to the armor piece and just some overall stress to the hands themselves. You can tell that these have been through hard work. So for overall accessories, what more can you ask for? I'm going to give this figure a 10 out of 10. So for articulation, just looking at this figure, I am worried that we are not going to get a lot of range. So let's go ahead and start with the head. The head is barely able to look up any. It does look down some, it does rotate, and surprisingly, you have a little bit of tilt there. The arm is able to, it's very tight. All right, maybe if you heat it, I don't know, but the arm is only able to kick out to the side that much. It does rotate, no upper bicep cut. You do have rotation at the elbow itself. The elbow appears to be single jointed, bending in about that much. The wrists are on hinges, so this one goes side to side. Now with the torso, this is a singular piece. At least it appears so with this around it. So with the torso, okay, it does rotate. You get a little bit of crunch forward. No, does it stay in place? None backwards. You do get some tilt and a decent amount of rotation. Now coming below that, the legs are able to kick out to the side only that much, forward only that much, backwards that much. You do have a good rotation here, no upper thigh cut. Next point of rotation is all the way at the foot itself. The knees are double jointed, only bending in that much. With the foot, it is able, choose this one, it's able to go down only that much, forward that much, and you have good tilt. Also, no butterfly joint in this figure. So for articulation, there's certainly some limitation. I definitely would want more range out of these arms and a little bit more out of the torso, because this is a ninja-based character. He needs to be flexible. So for overall articulation, I'm going to give this figure a 5 out of 10. So for design, let's go ahead and get something out of the way first, and that's the overall color of the figure. Now, when I first saw this figure in the comics, I assumed that it was black, but looking at other areas, it appears to be a gray. Now, the question is, how dark should that gray be? So either this is going to work just fine for you, or you want something a bit darker. Now, aside from that, let's just go ahead and zoom in and take a look at that ugly but beautiful face sculpt. I really like this expression. Just the lines in that face, just the wrinkling, and just turning this hood to the side, the textured details coming down to the armor bits, all have some wear to them. And just looking at the wrinkling of the clothing, which just makes it stand out so much more. And you can just see subtle washes all over the figure. Just looking at the elbow pads, and even turning him to the back, Neca didn't skip paint on the pouches. You can see some dry brushing here. I really love this piece. You do have the rope that's holding it. Coming down to his armor bits. You can see he's been using this to black all kind of weapons. A lot of damage to them. Looking at the knee pads, just realized that they were actually different. Maybe he's using what he had left. Again, just looking at that texturing and the wrinkles to the pants, coming down to the armor bits, all of the wear. I do have an area here which is a little bit shiny. Not sure if that's done to mimic armor. And then looking at the feet, I think it looks fantastic. The toenails are a bit yellow, dirty, grungy. You can see that the sandals are embedded in between the feet. And even at the bottom, man, this thing is textured. And for overall design, like, what more can you ask for from comic to action figure form? I'm going to go ahead and give this figure a 10 out of 10. So is this figure essential to your collection? Well, first, let's go ahead and take a look at the history of this character. And before doing so, I'm only going to reveal certain details. For those of you that have not read it, I don't want to spoil certain things. So just to start off, I want to be clear that The Last Ronin does not disturb the continuity of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that we know. And it appears to take place in a multiverse or version of that.
So in the future, the Foot has taken over New York City. They control crime, they control law. And in this dystopian society, the Foot is the one true leader. Now led by Shredder's grandson, we see a new face but a familiar enemy. In this tale, the Turtles are no more. Strucken down and killed in violent ways, there's only one turtle that remains. And that turtle is the Last Ronin. Hell-bent on revenge, this lone warrior is set to avenge his brothers and friends. This story is met with rage, pain, and vengeance, as one last turtle fights for justice, no revenge. I think that's a good place to end this story.
So for toy options, I'm very surprised that we actually have two versions of this. We actually have the NECA version and we have a Playmates version. I was very surprised that NECA was able to work on this character. Typically with NECA, we see them working on older properties, and being that this one is just a few years old, very surprising. So as far as being essential to your collection, this is the core character of The Last Ronin. I'm going to go ahead and give this figure a 10 out of 10. So for functionality, this figure clearly passes the stand test, and that's really because of the flat footwear that he has on. Hasn't been an issue getting him to stand. I want to go ahead and replace the hand, so let's take this off. And the hand has a back to it the way it should be. Let's go ahead and try some of these accessories. So able to get the katana in hand without a problem, and it is very secure. Was also able to get the bow staff in without any problem. Just make sure when you're doing so, you want to get him to hold the wrap as he holds that area more secure. So these fit in very easy, little loose. As you can see that it drops, would like that to be a bit tighter. But I do like that chain. And Raphael Sai. I exchanged the hand as I thought maybe the throwing star can fit in between the figures, but it doesn't stay in place, so it appears with that same gripping hand, whichever side you choose, he is able to hold the throwing star. And for the final weapon, he's also able to hold that secure. Now with this, not sure exactly how you will have him holding it. I did a quick wrap around one of the hands and just lazily placed it in his hand like so. If you take some time, you can get him to hold this a bit better. And of course, it does fit in this hand if you choose to put it there. All right, so I have to figure out how these goggles work. I think they actually go inside of this. So let's see if we can get that to work. Morning, buddy. All right, so pretty easy. As I was going to pull the head off, I saw that this hood piece actually comes off, and Neca did such a good job, I didn't even know that that was removable. And I'm going to go ahead and place these goggles around the head. It is on a, what do you call this? Can't think of it, but it's stretchy, like a rubber band type of effect. Look a little bit weird on, but with them there, I'm going to go ahead and put this back over his head. All right, there we go. And I'm wondering if I have these goggles on upside down. It is possible. So I want to put the character aside for a moment as we have an alternate head. And we have this sort of swaying bandana piece, which looks good, but I am worried about it over time. So fortunately, you don't have to leave this on your figure. It can be removed, and Neca provided another version that we can use. So very happy with that. Whether one gets damaged, you have an alternate one to use. Plus it just helps to sell that action figure pose that you're putting him into. So let's go ahead and get this head on the actual figure. All right, so this is how he looks. New head on with no hood. Now this figure does come with some storage, so let's go ahead and use this. Let's turn him to the back. I haven't tried this out yet. I'm assuming that for the larger hole, the scabbard will fit through. Something along like that. So up top, with the smaller hole, we're going to go ahead and place, or attempt to place, the bow staff through. I just want to be, okay, I guess that works as well. Might be a better way to do that. All right, so after playing around with that, originally I had the sword on the larger piece and I attempted to get the bow staff up top, but I can only get the wooden part through and the thicker area wouldn't fit. So then I went ahead and put this in the larger area, but then the scabbard was too big. So what I did was poke the blade through and just push the scabbard down. And this is what I have. Maybe a way to get it to stay a bit better. I don't like how high it sits. It looks pretty cool from the front, so I guess that it works. And in the back here, he has two small hoops, which we're gonna go ahead and place the nunchucks. So one side is already in, and you can go ahead and throw the other side in there. Now turning him to the front, there's also an area for storage. We're gonna go ahead and place the side here. So that leaves this item, which now he can just hold in his hand. Very happy that we have all of this storage to be able to store all of these items. Very nice touch. Now taking a quick look at the material, it's probably not as soft as it should be. I mean, it definitely gets out of the way. And if you look closer, right, you can see the leg here. It should kick up. Well, it does kick up more. Okay, well, there we go. The one area to where I'm really disappointed is this. I'm not sure if you heat it up, if you may get more range, but that is very limiting. This arm does not come up enough. And I wish we would have gotten more movement, being that they put the ball peg in the torso. Just a bit more range, like that Tyrus Flare figure from Storm Collectibles. And one thing that I really like about this figure that Hot Toys struggle with and some other companies struggle with, the arms collapse all the way to the side. I had this issue with something that I reviewed recently, the Loose Collector Hell Witch. Someone told me that the arms are just tight. They do collapse to the side, but in the video I was unable to get mine to collapse without the fear of breaking the arms. And if I haven't mentioned, I really like the way that they did the hood. Show you a quicker look at that. There's a peg in the back. Peg in the back, which attaches to a hole in the head. That just works so well, and you couldn't even tell that this was a separate piece. And having this as an actual, well, we're going to say rope, but to mimic a rope was just a really great idea. Helps to make this feel more like a premium item than a cheap accessory. So for overall functionality, I'm going to give this figure an 8 out of 10. So for pricing, I purchased this figure at my local comic shop, which was $3 extra. If you purchase it online, you can find it for a bit cheaper. So for pricing, this figure comes in at 40 bucks. Add in taxes and shipping, you're looking at a price point of roughly $44. So now is this figure worth the price of admission? Well, let's see what he comes with. In terms of accessories, you couldn't ask for more. You have each signature weapon of each turtle. You have Ninja Star, and you have additional weaponry for this figure. He comes with an additional head sculpt, different bandana options that you can put on those head sculpt, as well as goggles and a removable hood, which truly increase the way that you can display this character. In addition to that, just looking at the design of this figure, it is beautiful. Ugly face, but a beautiful character and a solid representation of him in that comic. So for overall pricing, I'm going to give this figure a 10 out of 10. That should give this figure an overall cliff score of. So now is this figure a pass or a purchase? We're not going to even waste time here. This is an absolute purchase. This is a beautiful figure. It should go nicely with your Turtles figures, and I'm pretty sure that you can even mix this particular character in with some of your other collections. Or collectibles, excuse me. So let's throw Hudson in from the same NECA company. I should be reviewing this one shortly. Pretty sure he stands, but again, this is on a slant.